I'd like to call this meeting to order, please. Ms. Shuttleworth, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Greer, Mr. Sturtevant, Mrs. Tanner, Mr. Bullock,
Yes.
Ms. Smiley,
Here.
Mrs. Garner, Mrs. Wagstaff,
Here.
Mr. Upler.
And I'm here. Start our meeting and listen to staff. We hope we have a quorum at 7, but if not, we'll listen to staff reports and from school board members. So at this point, we will be here until we have a quorum. Thank you. Oh, Ms. Shuttleworth, did anyone let you know or how that they weren't going to be here? Have you heard from anyone? Okay.
Ms. Shuttleworth did send an alert to all the board members indicating that if you don't plan to be here, to let her know.
So only one.
You know? We did not have a quorum at 6 o'clock, so I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call, Ms. Shuttleworth.
Mr. Greer, Mr. Sturtevant, Mrs. Tanner,
Here.
Mrs. Hicks, Mr. Bullock,
Here.
Ms. Smiley,
Here.
Mrs. Garner, Mrs. Wagstaff,
Here.
Mr. Upler.
As you can see, we still do not have a quorum. Therefore, there is not an official meeting therefore, an official meeting will not take place tonight. We do not have an agenda. We have spoken with our attorney, and we can still hear information from our staff. We can still hear from our students, which we're looking forward to, and we can share information. We will not take action tonight, such as hiring potential employees, paying bills, and authorizing employee pay for June. Okay. I want to share some information. We have called 2 meetings to be able to share information with our fellow board members. Neither meeting have we been able to get a quorum. However, to let the public know that we have checked into the request by the Board of Supervisors to not hire until a new board comes in. There's a matter of state code, and we checked with our association, and they stated that the board has 180 days to replace the superintendent. The board needs to have announced their next superintendent by the end of December. By this message, I am authorizing Elizabeth Ewing, their attorney, to give us the code section. We further checked with our attorney and got a response to the Board of Supervisors. Thank you. Thank you for your suggestion that the current school board not name a new superintendent, but should rather defer the decision to a future school board after January 1, 2016. However, we are unable to do so as a matter of law. Virginia Code Section 22.1-60 requires a school board to appoint a superintendent within 180 days after a vacancy occurs. That means the entire process must be completed by December 31, 2015. The code further requires that a school board that has not appointed a superintendent within 120 days of a vacancy shall submit a written report to the superintendent of public instruction demonstrating its timely effort to make an appointment. That clearly means that the school board should have completed the process by October 31, 2015 to be able to justify why it had not, or be able to justify why it had not. It is not timely efforts to make an appointment to simply and totally defer the decision to some future and undetermined school board. The code states that the supervision of schools in each school division shall be vested in the school board, Virginia Code Section 22.1-28. It is regrettable that the Board of Supervisors would advise the school board to engage in conduct that violates Virginia law. We assume that you made your suggestion in ignorance of the nature of our legal obligations, but we request that in the future you check with the county attorney before making official communications to the school board regarding how it should conduct its business. Those board members of us who have gone to board training were aware of this and knew that it was state law. I checked further, board members, to find out if there is an allowance in the code to go past the 180 days. The response was legally the state board or superintendent to see if there is an allowance. The answer is there is no allowance in the code to go past the 180 days. Legally, the state board or superintendent could then name a replacement. The problem I see is if they intentionally go past the 180 days, then they are intentionally violating the law. I know how it feels to be that candidate for this office sitting on the outside of the hiring process. So I checked with our attorney to see if the incoming candidates could also be a part of the hiring process. And his response is that he did not know of any reason that the ones who choose to do so cannot be a part of the process. As the board chair, members, I would like to recommend that you think about that as we're moving forward with the hiring process, to vote for a firm. If we do not do that, then that is, if we don't start the process, that means that we're violating our duties, our responsibilities, and state code. And I'm also recommending that you think about allowing the incoming candidates to be able to participate in the hiring process. They would be there as observers to give input to their board member representatives, but of course they would not have a vote until they have taken the oath, and at that point. Again, this is just a recommendation for your information that I wanted to share with you all. And it will be done at the pleasure of the board. So, let's see. I think that is all that I have for information at this point. Some of our staff have information they want to share, or do we want to hear this from the students first?
Good evening. Tonight we'd like to recognize the wonderful Brainiac team from Parkview Middle School. Is this on? Okay. I would like to call them up individually. They were, first of all, I'd like to call the coach Janine Campbell up, who led this team to victory, and then followed by the students. First of all, we would like to recognize Caitlin Campbell, Ella Patton, Ella Patton could not be here tonight, Adam Piercy, Taylor Pulley, and Luke Ritchie. Can y'all come stand up here for a minute, please? I want to talk about y'all and how wonderful you are. This Brainiac team has been together for 3 years. They have built a solid team and know each other well, and they work well together, knowing each other's strengths and weaknesses. This year, they went to regionals and placed first. They then competed at the state level and placed 5th. And then they proceeded to global finals in Knoxville, Tennessee, where they performed and represented not only Mecklenburg County, but the whole state of Virginia. We are very proud of their accomplishments and are looking forward to their presentation tonight, in which they will present their Central Challenge solution. Thank you very much. Next, we'd like to recognize two very special people in our transportation department, and Lee Livingston's going to come up here as we recognize these people. First, I would like to call up Miss Queen Edmonds. We are pleased to announce Miss Queen Edmonds as the 2015 Bus Driver of the Year for the Eastern Mecklenburg County attendance areas. Miss Edmonds has been selected for this honor for her dedication to the safe transportation of the students of Mecklenburg County Public Schools. She has been employed with Mecklenburg County as a bus driver since 2001. Miss Edmonds is a leader to both students that she transports daily and with her peers. She graciously accepted an evening route servicing the 21st Century program at Parkview Middle School this year. Miss Edmonds also accepted a lengthy alteration to her bus route at the beginning of the school year to assist with overcrowding issues. The Transportation Office rarely receives a complaint from parents or school administration about her bus. She always deals with any discipline issues on her bus quickly and fairly. Safety and professionalism are always first in her mind. It is with pleasure to present Miss Queen Edmonds as Eastern Mecklenburg County Public Schools Bus Driver of the Year for 2015. Thank you. Next, we'd like to recognize Miss Bobby Jean Henry. We are pleased to announce Miss Bobby Jean Henry as the 2015 Bus Driver of the Year for Western Mecklenburg County attendance areas. Miss Henry has been selected for this honor for her dedication to the safe transportation of the students of Mecklenburg County Public Schools. She has been employed with Mecklenburg County as a bus driver since 1992. Miss Henry is a leader to both the students and that she transports daily and with her peers. She is an avid trip driver, transporting students to sporting events and educational field trips. There is not a destination that Miss Henry is willing to accept. The Transportation Office rarely receives any complaints from parents or school administration about her bus. Miss Henry always deals with discipline issues on her bus quickly and fairly. Safety and professionalism are always first in her mind. It is our pleasure to present Miss Bobby Jean Henry as Western Mecklenburg County Public Schools Bus Driver of the Year for 2015. Thank you.
I'd just like to take a moment to recognize all of the tremendous staff we have in Mecklenburg County. It takes everyone to do the job and to educate all of our children, and you saw tonight to drive our children. And Ms. Henry, you've done a great job driving my baby. Thank you. And she loves you. And the cafeteria workers that feed our children, the secretaries, everyone in this system is responsible for the outcomes and the student outcomes that we have. And you are going to hear next month the SRL results in full from Dr. Majette and her staff. But I want to thank Dr. Majette, her staff, and everyone for what they've done in the turnaround we've had this year. We've improved in 25 out of 28 areas in the SRLs. In 17 of those areas, it's 10 points or more. In some of those areas, it's as high as 40 points. The teachers, and it's a team. The administrators who work and support the building level principals and then the principals working with their teachers. It's an entire team, and they care and love every child. And those are the people that your children are in very, very good hands. And hopefully, we'll continue to see this great progress. Thank you.
We'd like to come down and talk to those that just presented to us and were recognized. However, we are going to hear from some of our staff, so if you want to hear that. I do want to remind you that we will not be taking any action tonight, which means that our employees will not get paid, which means that our bills will not be paid, which means that we will not be able to hire potential employees because we do not have a quorum. So, again, just as a reminder, this is not a meeting where we can take action. We are going to try to get hold a meeting on Thursday night at Parkview High School. Hopefully, we can get a quorum so that we can pay our employees and pay our bills. I also want to remind, I also want to remind you that we're also, if we can't pay some of our bills and get our reimbursements in on time because of not having a quorum to take care of business, that there could be some complications as we go forward. So
When is payday? (26th of June). Yeah. Yeah.
well, hopefully we'll have a quorum Thursday night to be able. The other staff want.
Good evening. My name is Ron Goodwin. I'm representing the technology department, and we have our annual VPSA resolution that is for information. It was supposed to be for information tonight and for action for vote next month. It's the same as it's always been. We get it's for the maintenance or maintaining of our computers and our network so that we can do online testing. And it requires a 20% match, just like it always does. It's always in the budget. Of course, got to have a budget, right? So, but anyway, it's in your, you've got that information. You can read through it, and we'll vote on it next month. Any questions? Anybody got anything they want to ask?
Good evening. I wanted to present the overnight field trip of BHS robotics competition to Wallops Allen. It's NASA competition. It's down in Wallops Allen. It's actually the 70th anniversary of NASA, and they'll be taking 9 students, 8 adults down there for an overnight field trip. This is actually due to the fact that it is their anniversary for NASA. The students will be given a free tour around the actual facility. I thought this was a great opportunity for the students and, once again, for robotics. They were selected and we were contacted in order to attend this trip. There will be over 1,000 students there from all parts of the country. This is a great opportunity for our students. So I just wanted to make sure I presented this for tonight. Scrappy.
When is the trip?
The trip is on the 27th of June. The 27th of June.
And I will say that we're going to try to get the quorum there, and we will just be doing action items at that time because all of the information, they've been given this information ahead of time. So hopefully the quorum will be there and be ready to vote.
Yes, ma'am. And Scrappy will be attending. All right.
I'm here this evening to share information about textbook examination for adoption that's in the process at this time. At the elementary level, we currently have teachers examining language arts textbooks, kindergarten through 5th grade, that are available for adoption. Once teachers have chosen which textbook best serves the needs of students, we will have information related to textbook adoption for language arts as an action item. At this time, we have these materials available for parents to see as well. And at the secondary level, we're in the process of examining Spanish textbooks for the secondary schools. Our teachers have selected Reala Dates by Pearson Prentice Hall, which includes 6 years of online access. Currently, we have these materials available for parents as well. And this is for information only. Are there any questions?
Good evening. Mrs. Shores and I are here just presenting information. We're applying for conditional accreditation from Blue Snow Middle School. Schools that have been accredited with warning for 3 consecutive years in 2014-15 in any content area may be assigned the rating of accreditation denied. We are applying for the conditional accreditation. It is in your packet with the deadline. We're providing presenting it for information tonight because we've already submitted our intent to submit for conditional accreditation because Mrs. Shores and her staff, they've made tremendous progress in games every single year, and we feel very confident that she will lead that school to being fully accredited, so we just needed this additional year. So we were presenting this to you all tonight, our application, and Mrs. Shores can tell you a little bit about some of her games that she's made.
Part of the application process requires us to put in our percentage growth in the games that we've made. The smallest game we made this year was 16%, and that was in science and civics. We went from 67 to 86%. The language arts group went from 57 up to 71%. Math went from 57% to 71%, and in science we had a 43% gain, 43% up to 86%. So we've made some pretty tremendous gains. And in writing, we gained 23 points, I believe, this year. So we've worked really hard, and this is 2 years in a row that we've made at least 10%, if not greater, gains in every area.
Do you have any questions about this? All right, thank you.
Good evening. RFP 2015-0007 was issued and advertised beginning May 18th, 2015 for grounds maintenance services on the west end of the county. The RFP is available at our website under Division Highlights. Proposals were due by 2 o'clock on June 4th, 2015 and opened on June 8th, 2015. We received 5 responses and evaluated using a scale outlined in the RFP. This is just for information for you. Any questions about that RFP? We will have someone that will take over the grounds starting July 1st. We will contact that vendor that we used on that as well. My next agenda item, well, no, not an agenda, my next information, sorry. On May 18th, 2015, MCPS issued 2 RFPs to paint interior hallways of schools on the east and west end of the school division. The RFPs were numbers 2015-0005 and 2015-0006. We advertised in 2 local newspapers, school website, and our Facebook page. The closing date was set for June 2nd, 2015 to give our committee time to review and evaluate the proposals and make a recommendation to the school board. Unfortunately, MCPS did not receive any vendors to answer the proposal. MCPS contacted vendors that put in proposals to paint last summer as to why they did not respond. We decided after that to reissue the RFPs, and both RFPs were reissued on June 3rd, 2015, with proposals due today by 12 o'clock. We had several vendors to contact our maintenance crew and the principals to arrange visits to the schools. Today we received 2 we received RFPs for that, and we'll be awarding those RFPs to paint as soon as we can, so that we can have our schools painted by August 4th before our teachers return. Any questions about that? Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chairman. My name is Bain Cameron. I am a 10-year resident of Mecklenburg County and a former employee of the school division. I appreciate that you accepted my request to speak at your gathering this evening. My observations and suggestions pertain to the recently announced need to fill the office of Division Superintendent, which will become vacant at the end of this month. My remarks are primarily addressed to the school board, the Division Director of Personnel, and others who may be involved in the search process for the superintendent. I have read in the local press that other elected county officials, which you referred to earlier in your opening comments, Mrs. Tanner, other elected county officials have communicated their encouragement to this board that you delay the search process until your successor board is elected in 5 months and installed in 6.5 months. While I endorse their suggestion, I would like to extend the rationale underlying the wisdom. To me, it is more serious than simply allowing a new elected leadership a say in the vested responsibility. Commenting last week on another organization's need to fill an announced vacancy at the head of a public company, Mr. Kevin Landis, who evaluates businesses and judges their prospects for future success, cautioned on the need to find an outstanding individual to lead the group for the long term. When asked, "Who would you like to see at the top of this company?" he responded, "It's a big world out there with a lot of talented people. And I don't think that there's only one good answer to the question. But I would say, if you think it's wrenching to change your CEO or try to replace your CEO, replacing a replacement is really awful for morale. So you really want to take the time and do it right." He went on to suggest that the board, quote, "take their time and make a really good suggestion." When asked, "What attributes do you think that candidate needs to have to be a permanent replacement?" he further suggested, mind you, for a company, quote, "on the edge of innovation there," he further suggested something that sounds dishearteningly true of our situation. You are dealing with a lot of chaos. Ironically, he said, and that's good. You're going to create chaos, and you're going to live in a world of chaos. I suppose that we could try to distinguish between good chaos and bad chaos, but essentially you want somebody who can navigate a really chaotic environment, and he concluded by saying that's not easy. Mecklenburg County is, in too many ways, a really chaotic environment. For too many years, we have been replacing a replacement. It strikes me that we may have received in leadership over the years exactly what we deserved, that many of our frustrations may be endemic to our county and uncorrelated with the relative strengths or weaknesses of a sitting superintendent. At the same time, I have often hesitated to read about the latest division activities, as even those few seemingly positive headlines never turn out to be that way by the end of the article. At the same time that I've been frustrated by both hasty actions and eternal inactions within our county, I am optimistic and hopeful enough to believe that today we have the rare chance to navigate through our current really chaotic environment, to arrive at a place of a long forgotten good chaos. Leadership matters. Stability matters. Confidence matters. To have an outstanding, not an outlier, but an outstanding relationship with an incoming outstanding superintendent, we must commit ourselves to outstanding local government, outstanding local leadership, outstanding local support, and outstanding local attitudes, and outstanding local cooperation. That's a tall order. I believe that for this search process to risk being seen as outstanding in its own right, to obtain a deep applicant pool with outstanding applicants, many who are currently unknown to and unfamiliar with this county, this board would best serve its mission by affirmatively deciding to delay even beginning the hiring process for a permanent replacement for 6.5 months. If you do this, I believe that you will fulfill your greatest charge of leadership of this school division and pave the way for stability while granting the next superintendent the confidence of the board and its constituency. Thank you for hearing my comments. You have my best wishes for individual and corporate wisdom with the decisions before you. And since I guess I'm not on a clock, since this isn't an official meeting, I would like to make one additional note as a final note, and that is I seem to recall pressure perceived some years back by a former school board to hastily appoint a superintendent. As Chairman Tanner discussed, there is a code which states that a position may not remain vacant for more than 6 months. I understand that. I presume, perhaps I'm incorrect, but I presume that this could be handled by approving a 12-month interim superintendent. If not, perhaps we should allow the Commonwealth the opportunity to appoint for us a permanent superintendent. We have not had a stellar track record left on our own. Also, in looking for an interim, perhaps we could humbly ask one who was recently given her pink slip whether she would be considered as a candidate for the permanent position. If she would consider applying, is something that the board could address and negotiate in that hiring. I believe you do have an option to hiring a new superintendent before the end of this calendar year. We can give that decision to the state. We should not think that is a bad decision. And I also am not clear, I may be incorrect, but I'm not clear that hiring and appointing an interim for 1 year would not be possible, and to allow the new board to take both the role and the responsibility for finding that new superintendent. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I am also, in corporate America, that's wonderful, and I agree. When you have time, that's a good thing to do. However, the General Assembly has mandated that we have to have someone in place by December. And so that is one thing. However, as a compromise, I do feel that we need to include those candidates that are running for office to be a part of that. Right now, we're even behind on those dates because we have not even been able to have a meeting with a quorum to be able to hire a firm to do that adequate search that you're talking about. And those firms are out there, and they have pools that they can look at, and then we can look for that. As far as the interim 1 year, most of your superintendents are looking for more than a year, and they're also looking for a contract. So as we move forward, we'll keep all of those things in mind, and thank you for your comments. Anyone else want to speak?
I have a quick comment.
Well, we're at the point now where if no one else wants to speak, if the board members want to.
Well, I just want to say, you know, as a board member, I think our primary job is to improve instruction for our children and also learning environments for our children. Everything else is basically secondary. Really disregarding all the legal aspects of it. I think going the better part of a year without an instructional leader is not good for our children. And I don't really care about any political repercussions or political, the politics doesn't bother me. It's just the children. I think we need to do the best thing. I'm going to do the best thing by our kids by hiring a good instructional leader. That's their job.
I just want to make a couple comments. I am not running for re-election, but I'm here tonight because I care about my job as a school board member. I'm in office until December 31st, 2015. We got some other people that need to be here that are going to be on the board next year, but they're not here. I take pride in what I've been doing for the last 8 years on this board. We hired Dr. Thornton, and when he came in here, we gave him some instruction. and I supported him because he was doing what we asked him to do, and that was for our children. Now, Mecklenburg County has a history of not keeping a superintendent. And the way we're going, we're not going to be able to get a good person to come here to work because of our history. It's 3 years, 4 years, and bang, you're gone, because it gets too political. Now, I had planned on running again, and I got the email from the Board of Supervisors saying to hold off. And I don't want to go through that political field again. The system has got too political, and it's hurting our children, it's hurting the county, and it's hurting recruitment of teachers and also doctors to the hospital. We're getting ready to build a new hospital here, and the doctors see all this stuff going on in the newspaper and on our website, where people come in and not doing what they're supposed to do. So we've got to change the system. And Dr. Thornton leaving us, it's going to be the gain for a while, our right and our loss. And we've got to take the politics out of the system. You know, and that's what I got to say.
I just want to apologize to the faculty, staff, students, administration that they obviously will not be receiving paychecks. I would be distraught if I was told as a state employee I would not be getting a paycheck this month. But obviously without a quorum, which seemingly is grandstanding to keep us from moving forward with a search, at least getting the search process started, because that can take months. But my apologies that obviously we won't be able to process payroll for much needed paychecks for all of our employees that support their families, bus drivers included, no process. Plus, we won't be able to meet state law with the Prompt Pay Act in requiring us that we have to pay bills by state law within 30 days of receipt of invoice or receipt of goods. And finally, I just wish Dr. Thornton the best of luck with Isle of Wight. We wish you well and wish you all the success there with your new position and new community.
Well, if I had known that I wasn't going to be on the clock and I was going to have all this extra time, I would have prepared a whole lot more remarks than I did. But first of all, I want to make sure, Ms. Shuttleworth, if you will put the gym as a location, we will have the meeting Thursday night, hopefully, if we can get a quorum for action items only. And then I feel like we probably will have a lot of people that will want to show up Thursday night to see if they're going to get paid or not. So Parkview High School's gym, Parkview High, 6:30. Okay. Winston Churchill said, "You have enemies?" Good, you stood up for something in your life. I want to thank you for standing up for the students, staff, and administration of Mecklenburg County Public Schools. You moved this division forward through adversity and controversy, knowing that the goal and end result was always what is best for the students. You did this with $3.2 million less than in years past and with 85 less teachers, which in itself is remarkable. Even though you and I haven't always seen eye to eye on issues, I always knew that you had the very best interest of every one of the 4,572 students in Mecklenburg County at the base of every decision that you made while you were here. Because you and your staff and your administration stood tall and did what was right for children, the directives that this board gave you were met and students benefited. The board directed you to increase the on-time graduation rate. You and your staff achieved a rating of 94.4%, which is higher than both the state and the national averages. The board directed you to make dual enrollment available to every student in the schools. In 2011, we had 0 students who received associate's degrees while still in high school. In 2014, we had 70, and I cannot wait to see how many we had in 2015, along with the certifications that were given. The board directed you to make academics just as important as athletics. You and your staff started the academic letter jacket, Student of the Month, and the Student Liaison Program, all of which are good for our students' growth and development. The board directed you to work towards improved and equitable facilities and programs for our students. You and your staff were able to get gyms, additions at the elementary schools, renovations of high school cafeterias, and even teacher raises. You and your staff integrated 21st century learning skills into instruction so that our students will be ready to compete with other students globally. You and your staff integrated the arts through music at La Crosse Elementary and are moving to integrate STEM at the other two elementary schools. There are many more examples that I could give of how you and your staff brought to fruition goals that were set 20 years ago in a community-driven plan for our students. But we would be here all night, and now that I know we have all night, I wish I'd listed them all. You and your staff accomplished a lot during your tenure in Mecklenburg. You are leaving us in a good place. We will hear more about that next month. But however, you are leaving us with a great team of administrators and plans in place to move forward to help our students be successful at all levels. It's been a pleasure and a curse working with you, and you will be missed. I wish you well in all of life. Anything? Well, she's unfinished talking.
They will attend the meeting tonight and also on the 25th, and if not, to let her know. And I'm not sure how many people advised her they wouldn't be here tonight. I know Ms. Hicks is sick. I know she wouldn't be here. And I think Mrs. Garner is on vacation. And I think those are only two that notified that she would not be here tonight. But they were running for re-election. That's all.
Anyone else wish to speak?
I do. Far be it from me to miss an opportunity. But I do want. Okay. No, we talk a lot of the big picture. And I just want to say just very briefly about room 16 at Parkview High School. And it's one of the happiest places I've ever occupied in my life. I feel more loved. I feel more respected than any place that I've ever been. I don't know why the students do that, but I'm going to tell you something. I surely love them. Ms. Boswell came in at the beginning of this year, and I can't tell you. I probably got more from you than I did any of my college courses preparing me for students. I work for an administrative team, Kinley, Carter, and Gilmer, that they're there anytime I need them. And they're willing to provide whatever I feel like I need. Now, they were a very hard act to follow, leaving Ms. Shores' hand. But I've only worked in 2 schools in Mecklenburg County. And I want to speak of Bluestone Middle and Parkview High as being incredible places to be, especially room 16. Sometimes I want to close my door and forget that the rest of the world exists. In the course of this year, I was at a football game with a student as he suffered a head trauma and went to be with the Lord. I spent the night with a student in Richmond that was in an automobile accident that hopefully will be coming home on July the 2nd and is rehabilitating. And I just want to remind teachers that there's more to being a teacher than a 7:45 to 3:45 paid position. I do it because I love it. But I do need to get paid. So, Thursday night, 6:30, but I can't imagine, anyone having a more rewarding position than being in room 16. Oh, they are characters, but I parent them. I won't get too deeply into that. But we live in a day where parents are so busy. You know, they're so busy, and for whatever reason, sometimes they're not there. And I had a student, very dark skin, introduced me and says, "Pop, at a track meet. This is my dad." And he introduced me to two lovely young ladies that he was talking to. And they looked at me just as, like. And I said, "Yes, son, but I need to get over here with some of these other contestants, and I'm ready to watch you run." You know, there's relationship more than blood, but they're incredible students, and they deserve the best. Thank you.
That reminded me of something, and I want to make a comment, and there are times that I've wanted to make this comment since I've got time now. But I think that a lot of times when we're up here and you hear a lot of the rhetoric that's being said out there, that we forget that we have a top-notch administrative team that's in place, that's in the school systems, that are evaluating and looking at the data and making sure that our students are moving forward. And, you know, we keep hearing about, oh, the morale is so low, the morale is so low. We daggone right it's low. And you know why it's low? Because they hear from here, they hear from our Board of Supervisors how they're not doing a good job. And they take that to heart. They are doing the best job they can with the tools that we have given them, with the funding that we have. And I want to take a minute and thank our administrators, because while Dr. Thornton walked through adversity and controversy, they got it too. It hit them head on. And I think during our budget, or no, during one of our meetings, I think it was Ms. Shores that came up and said, "We're tired of hearing how bad a job we're doing. We're working hard and we're doing the best that we can, and look at the strides that they've made with less money, less teachers." And unfortunately, that was one of the things that I had hoped before my tenure was over, that we would be able to move forward, and we didn't. But I'll be on that side of the podium, and I'll have my 2 minutes, and I'll have my 6 from now on. So.
You know, for the past 2 years, I had the opportunity to go with Ms. Shore. She took a busload of kids over to the Durham Bulls baseball game. And they were the most behaved kids. We had a bunch of kids. And they behaved themselves, and they act like grown folks. They was told when they said, "You got to be back at a certain time," they was back. And I enjoyed those 2 trips with you, and I think Ms. Thomas went one time. And unfortunately, I won't be able to do it next year, but I enjoyed it with you. And I have enjoyed with all the teachers and administrators. I spend a lot of time at the schools, you know, and because I care about our students, and I'm going to continue to do that, even though I'm not going to be on the board next year. I will visit the schools and do what I'm supposed to do as a citizen. And I appreciate the opportunity that I've had, and I'm going to continue to do my job until December 31st. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything they want to say?